Hello, and thank you for tuning in. If you like scary movies, trailers, and reviews, or you're like us and you like making predictions about what's going to happen at the end of a horror movie, then subscribe to the Gutted Horror Podcast.
It would really mean a lot to us if you took a second to scroll down, hit that subscribe button, follow us across social media so you don't miss us spill our guts about horror films.
How do you gut someone?
Always trust my gut.
Hello, and welcome to Gutted. I'm Aleece.
And I'm Tony, and we're here to spill our guts about horror films.
And we are officially in October, and what better way to celebrate than by throwing on your best bikini, heading to the beach. Nightmare Beach, that is.
Take my body, take it good. Take the shape I'm in, treat me like a real man should. See my feet, baby blue, the best thing start. But baby, please, don't take my heart.
We have a full film review for the Spring Break shocker Nightmare Beach, which was originally recommended for one of our pre-gut trailer reviews 2 years ago by fellow podcasters Look Good for the Boys.
In this episode, we will start with some spoiler-free reactions and review our initial thoughts and predictions made during our pre-gut episode. That was way back in September of 2023.
And then we will spill our guts with a full film review and conclude with our awards ceremony.
Aleece, we have just seen Nightmare Beach. Finally, we've owned it for quite some time, but you actually wanted to start this episode off with something a little bit different.
Yeah, Tony, how's your October going? And September and October going.
Fall is in full effect here in Southern California. The weather has dropped to a mere 85 degrees. We are pretty close to the place where they filmed the original Halloween. And if you look at that film, there are some leaves, but in the background you see the green palm trees and you see that California sky, the California weather. And you know they totally faked it.
I didn't know when I first saw it. I was like, oh, that looks nice.
Because John
fall.
Carpenter is a master. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to get a bag of leaves and dump it on our front lawn and call it fall and move on.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So because we are in spooky season, we have seen many a spooky movie lately. And if you follow our Letterboxd at Gutted Horror, just Gutted Horror on Letterboxd, then you know that we've been posting reviews for movies like almost every day. So I'm going to read a couple.
And just to clarify, Aleece writes all of these reviews and I read them.
He reads them. I make him read them sometimes. And I'm like, you didn't read the review that I wrote for such and such film.
She gets really excited about writing
I get
these
very
reviews.
proud of them. I'm like, did you read that one?
So
He's
make
like,
sure
"No."
to follow at Gutted Horror on
I mean, they're
Letterboxd.
not all gems. Sometimes they're just like, oh, yeah, I watched that one. That's how I felt, kind of. But sometimes I'm proud of them. Anyway.
All right, let's hear it.
Well acted, well made. Please don't make me watch it again.
That would be The Long Walk.
Yep, it is The Long Walk. The Long Walk we watched on September 13th of this year. And yeah, it was well made and well acted. And it was one of those movies where you're just like, that was intense. The next day I woke up, I felt like very anxious, having just like seen it the night before. And I felt anxious the entire day afterward.
I would say that movie was surprising without it being surprising, if that makes sense. The movie itself and what happened was not surprising, but some of the events in the movie were shocking.
It was like at times like surprisingly brutal. Let's do another one. How about it's like if Amelia Bedelia sold her soul to be the goat of goats.
That would be him.
Yes, it is him.
The only reason why I got that is because of the subtle wordplay of the word goat. Because
Yeah.
at first I was like, wait, Amelia Bedelia? I don't really think I know what Amelia Bedelia does.
You don't know Amelia Bedelia?
I remember the title, but I was in elementary school probably like 30 years ago or 40 years ago.
Yeah, and she's that like kids book character who's like a maid and she takes everything literally. It's a great example of wordplay and figurative language. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's like a book where she's like call roll in a classroom. She like gets a bread roll. She starts like calling. She's like, hey, roll. Come here, roll.
That movie is taking something very literally.
It takes, like
being
goat.
the goat.
Like be the goat. And then they have some goats in the movie. So
See,
anyway.
I thought the movie The Lobster had taken that idea literally. Hey, what if we had a lobster in this movie?
What? But there's
or
no
tusk.
There's no figurative language of the animal, the lobster.
Oh, okay.
This segment's bombing. Don't worry, I'll cut it. Or maybe you pick one for me to read.
But you wrote it. You would get.
Maybe
you would
I
get
forgot.
it. Okay, I want to highlight a couple of Aleece's carefully crafted letterbox reviews.
Thank you.
This one is from Slumber Party Massacre 3, which we just watched. Maria deserved better, or at least better friends. Also, love the girl who screamed, "Fuck you," and crashes herself through a sliding glass window.
Yeah, that was impressive.
How about Aleece's review of Coyotes, which we gave 3.5 stars? Kind of impressed at how succinctly the trailer summarized and spoiled the entire movie. Still a fun watch, though.
Let's see here. No, I just want to talk about the movie Good Boy. It was cute. Watch it. Okay. 4 stars.
Didn't really get any horror movies that were scary. These were more of sort of like fun movies or experimental movies.
Yeah.
But I appreciated them.
Yeah, Good Boy kind of reminded me of this year's maybe like In a Violent Nature, not in brutality, but in like innovative point of view storytelling, or maybe like this year's Skinamarink, but not as slow as Skinamarink.
Yeah.
But still very like creatively done, like Skinamarink and In a Violent Nature.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. As much as we would love to talk about all movies that came out on October 3rd, this episode is actually focusing on a movie that we did a pre-gut for way back in September of 2023. And it's taken us 2 years to get to this one. So today we are finally here to do our post-gut review of Nightmare Beach.
Hi, you going to Manatee Beach? You from around here? Hey, look, maybe some clover. I want to get off. Let me off this thing. I want to get off this thing.
We had originally reached out to one of our favorite podcasts, Look Good for the Boys, and we asked them to suggest a trailer for us to review of something that we maybe haven't seen. And they came back to us with Nightmare Beach. And from the trailer, we were just like, man, this looks freaking awesome. We want to see this immediately.
Okay, so when we did our pre-gut 2 years ago for this, we do a little segment where we say, when do we think we'll watch the movie? And I had said that I would see it within the year. I do have like a long queue of movies I want to watch at all times. Things come up, we have to stop what we're doing and kind of like, go back to our day jobs. A year went by and we did not watch the movie. Tony was worse though. Tony said that he was going to watch it within that week.
Which I really did. I wanted to watch it immediately after watching that trailer.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it even took us a while to get the Blu-ray, right?
Then we did eventually end up buying the Blu-ray, and we had it sitting there in plastic just waiting for us.
It looked so pretty just sitting there waiting. And then summer came and went. Summer came and went again. We did not review this over the summer like we should have, but it's still 80 degrees.
So now here we are. We are going to give you our post-gut review of Nightmare Beach.
So starting with some spoiler-free reactions, Nightmare Beach has been reviewed by Look Good for the Boys in their July of 2021 episode called Summer Beach House Blood Nightmare Beach Party, in which they discuss Horror of Party Beach from 1964, Blood Beach from 1980, and Nightmare Beach from 1989.
Nightmare Beach was released in the US in 1989. It was directed by Harry Kirkpatrick, also known as James Justice, and also maybe had some affiliation with Umberto Lenzi, who signed onto the project but then dropped out at the last minute, but then maybe still was attached to it. And we know Umberto Lenzi from such films as Nightmare City.
You know what's weird? On IMDb, when you look at Nightmare Beach's directors, it says James Justice as Harry Kirkpatrick, Umberto Lenzi as Harry Kirkpatrick.
Okay, so I wanted to save that for the tidbits, but maybe we should just get this out of the way right off the bat. So for a long time, the internet and just fans of this movie had thought that Harry Kirkpatrick was an alias for Umberto Lenzi because there have been other Italian directors who have used aliases, especially if they're making a movie for international release. Someone who I can think of off the top of my head is Joe D'Amato, who's had multiple aliases. Alii?
I don't know.
Joe D'Amato is known for bringing us such fine classics as Anthropophagus.
Oh.
And he did a bunch of sort of like horror-esque pornography.
Oh, cool.
He did a lot of different...
Wait, what was his pen name?
He had a lot. So let's see. Erotic Nights of the Living Dead.
The whole thing's blurred out.
that probably means that it
Can't
has
look
like
at anything in
naked
that
bodies
poster.
on the cover, I'm guessing.
I do see like a fleshy figure laying down and a fleshy figure standing upright. Interesting.
Joe D'Amato's pseudonyms include Aristide Mascasesi. I don't know if I pronounced that very well. Arizona, Massachusetts.
Cool.
Ariston, Massachusetts.
So you're just thinking, what's the most American name you can think of? Pick 2 states.
Michael Wartruba, Federico Slanisco, and Peter Newton.
Oh, that's a good one.
He has quite a few.
I think my favorite is Arizona, Massachusetts. It's pretty good.
I was reading little tidbits on Nightmare Beach, and the story goes, this is according to Wikipedia and IMDb, by the way. Umberto Lenzi was set to direct this film and had a falling out with the producer and left the project. The directing job was given to Harry Kirkpatrick, also known as James Justice. Harry Kirkpatrick convinced Umberto Lenzi to stay on the project as a technical consultant. Umberto Lenzi said that that's basically his entire role with the film, was that he was like a technical advisor. However, there is some Italian film historian who has said that Umberto Lenzi actually did direct this film.
Kind of like the whole Poltergeist controversy. Who was the primary director, Spielberg or Tobe Hooper?
So yeah, the directing credit goes to Harry Kirkpatrick, aka James Justice, who also gave us Primal Rage.
Primal Rage. One of the actresses and one of the actors were both in Primal Rage. Sarah Buxton, who plays Gail, the lead actress in the film, and Luis Valderrama, who plays Dog, one of the biker gang members. They were both in Primal Rage in 1988, that came out the year before Nightmare Beach. And Umberto Lenzi and James Justice both had writing credits for Primal Rage. And the director of Primal Rage had a writing credit for Nightmare Beach.
All right. So they are sort of keeping it within their
little
family.
circle. Yeah. What are some spoiler-free reactions? How did you feel about watching Nightmare Beach?
All right. So yes, 2 years in the waiting for Nightmare Beach.
And this was all my fault too, because Tony kept wanting to watch it. And I was like, no, let's save it. Let's save it. I have a bad habit of saving movies.
And I just want to watch them.
Time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, once you watch it, that's done. You can't rewatch it for the first time. Anyway, so
yeah,
we finally were like, all right, we're just going to have to take turns and go back and forth. So like this week is Tony's turn to pick the movie, and Tony picked Nightmare Beach. I was like, okay.
Yes, I've been waiting for this for a long time. Anyways, Nightmare Beach, I would say I quite enjoyed it. It was about everything that I expected to happen, as far as a heavy dose of spring break debauchery mixed with that little Italian charm of the sort of like mystery whodunit killer in black gloves going around killing people. And the whole time we're trying to figure out, all right, who are the suspects? Who did it?
Who done
What's
it?
their motive? I would say that I feel like I figured it out very early
Actually,
on.
Tony did figure it out. I was
I
like,
think I
no.
figured it out in the opening credits, honestly.
No, you didn't. No, you did figure it out pretty quickly. Like if we were doing, I guess, the ending format where like we stop at halfway through, you definitely had it all by the halfway point. And I was like, no, he's too tall. It can't be him. And I was guessing everybody else except for the person that Tony guessed. And Tony nailed it. I didn't get anything right.
Hey, I mean, this is kind of right up my alley as far as movies that I enjoy. It's one that you don't really need to take seriously. You just kind of know what you're in for. It's just going to be like a bunch of, it's a slasher movie, but it's also like a giallo style movie, right? Because there's that sort of murder and crime element to it.
But I will say, I feel like it wasn't as silly as I thought it was going to be. So I was not.
What do you mean by silly?
Okay, I was not expecting to like this. I tend to not enjoy giallo movies or Italian influenced horror movies or slashers because usually you can't guess the ending. There's no possible way you could guess the ending. It ends up being someone's like distant relative who was angry about something that wasn't disclosed until 5 minutes before the end. I'm like, that's not fair. There's no way I was going to guess that. Like that one was like New York Ripper. I was guessing the whole time. And when I got to the end, I'm like, there's no way I could have guessed that. Obnoxious. I think the same thing happened in like Cat o' Nine Tails. I'm like, who's that guy? I don't remember him. And then
as only the Italians can do.
Yeah, and it tends to just really annoy me. But in this, there was a way to guess the ending. And I was like, I appreciate that.
And they revealed it pretty much right off the bat. I would say in the opening scene, in the opening montage.
But they had a few
credits.
different red herrings. And I was like, okay, it could be that person or this person or that person.
I kind of felt like the red herrings were there, but not very strong. Like I was pretty set on my prediction as soon as I met the character. And then afterwards, I was like trying to think like, okay, maybe it's not because that seems too easy. But I kept like narrowing it down and just like, okay, I have a pretty strong feeling it's the person that I
But
thought
I
it
had
was.
strong feelings for thinking it wasn't that person.
Well, your ideas would probably have made for a better movie. But, this is like a mid-tier sleaze kind of type of movie, right?
Actually more impressive than I thought it was going to be. Like even like the opening scene I thought was very like artistically done where we see our biker gang on a hill overlooking a penitentiary and it's sunset and all the faces of the biker gang, you're just getting like these little zoom in shots of their faces looking very glum and sad. And they're also beautiful with their like, I don't know. They just look really pretty.
They were pretty cool in that opening shot. And
Yeah.
that first opening set where we have the execution of the biker gang leader, Diablo. Was very ominous.
It was. And I think a lot of what I liked about that opening scene is that it didn't have an impending doom-like score to back it up. There was no score. You're just watching the solemn faces of the biker gang, and then you watch Diablo go into his chair. You watch the faces of the witnesses. There's the young woman in the front who's Gail, who is the sister of one of Diablo's quote-unquote victims in the past. You have John Saxon, who plays the sheriff, and they're looking on, and all of this is without score. And I feel like if this was remade today, you would have a very obnoxious score to tell you that this was sad or creepy. And it was just watching people's faces. And even the electrocution itself, the sound was very subdued. It wasn't like, like in like Green Mile where it's like awful.
Yeah.
It was very just like zap, zzz, and he's dead. All right.
I think what it is there's something about seeing that sort of death penalty happen, and we kind of get like him walking in to being strapped down and then flip the switch, and then the reactions of the witnesses, like something like that, I think is just scary and dreadful in itself. Almost seems like something that is of a different time.
It is just creepy on its own.
So it kind of hits you a little bit harder, right?
And it's something that I wouldn't expect it to lean on that aspect of that just being creepy enough in a movie like this that's so schlock and sleazy or whatever. I expected there to be more drama, more melodrama, and there wasn't. So that made me impressed right off the bat, that opening scene, just leaning on the weight of watching an execution on its own.
Yeah.
And then after he's dead. Very clinical. The medical examiner checks his heart. It's like, yep, he's confirmed dead. And people go on their merry way. It slowly fades to black as we hear an a cappella voice singing over it. And then as it's blackened completely, it really quickly ramps up into a spring breaker
like
jam.
a boom. All right, now it's time to party.
Yes, I loved that juxtaposition of like the somber a cappella tone. And in the same song, bam, cue the saxophone and the seagulls and the bods and the cars on the beach.
I was actually taken by the state of this beach. I've never been to Daytona Beach. In the movie, they call it Manatee Beach. They're spring breakers. They're in Florida. I've never personally experienced that, but I was just like, man, this place is not only insanely crowded, but it looks rowdy. There's cars that are like parked right up to the water on the sand.
It's funny because the cars are actually closer to the water than the beachers. Like the people on their towels, they're actually behind the cars, which is behind the water.
So I don't know if anyone's listening to this in Florida.
Is that a thing?
Is this a thing? Or is this like something that's allowed where cars can just drive right up onto the beach?
The seashore?
And just like immediately start partying? I mean, I could imagine a sort of like college beach town or just any sort of tourist place having that sort of row of bars or that strip that you walk down and everyone's just drunk and they're partying and there's, you walk down and people are like falling over because they're so
reckless
drunk.
abandon, having a whale of a time. We get two of our central characters, Skip and his buddy Ronnie. Skip's a college football player who like beefed it in, I don't know, some football game that he played. And that's his claim to fame, for better or worse. And his buddy Ronnie, who's wearing like a crop top, red mesh jersey.
That's the other thing that sort of really stuck with me about watching this movie is the depiction of debauchery and whether it looked like it was just real. It looked like they were there filming during spring break. So a little bit of that seemed like a bit documentary for me. Like it's not like they staged a big party scene on the beach. This looked real. This looked like they were actually there in the thick of spring break and they just happened to be filming a movie.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that scene in Jaws when it is 4th of July weekend and all the people come in on the ferries and you see just regular families walking around and you get the feeling that like, okay, those aren't extras. It feels like this is actually just like an event and people are coming into town.
Yeah, except dirtier, a lot more beer cans just like scattered along the beach, for sure. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought that it was exactly what I thought it would be, which is just like oogling of bodies and then a little bit of murder in between that.
A little bit of murder. But also the caliber of actors also seemed higher than I expected. Gail, played by Sarah Buxton, I think that's her name. Yeah, Sarah Buxton, who was in Primal Rage. She was actually one of the standout performers in Primal Rage when I had seen that. I don't like the movie Primal Rage that much, but she was definitely the standout performer in that movie. Mm-hmm. So when I saw her in this, I was like, oh, who's that? She looks very familiar. She also has like very piercing blue eyes. And she kind of reminds me of Karen Black. You said she reminded you of Debbie Mazur.
Probably because of her eyes.
She had like this stoicism about her, but also this like, give no shits. I'm over this. I'm a local. I have to do my job because I have no parents or sister, trying to live on my own. Because she's the bartender. She's serving these kids at spring break who are rowdy and debaucherous. And some guy grabs her ass and she just instinctively turns around and wallops him in the face. And
I mean, this isn't her first rodeo. She's done spring break every year.
I loved the wind up and the wallop, the slap in the face of that guy.
Should we just get into our synopsis?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, go ahead and read your synopsis.
Down the corridors of death row, biker gang leader Diablo is forced into the electric chair where witnesses crowd into a small viewing area. He shouts out that he was framed and vows revenge on those who have wronged him. His final pleas or threats are not enough to prevent his fate, as his face is covered and he is electrocuted to death. Something seems unresolved and everyone in that room can feel it and even fear it. But it's spring break. Time to party! Babes and hunks from all around flock to Manatee Beach in the south of Florida for a debaucherous week of boozing, sex, and revenge. The beaches are packed, the parties and hormones are raging, and the cars are parked right up on the sand. Enter college hunks Ronnie and Skip. Ronnie is ready for their unforgettable week, but Skip can't let go of his choke job in the Orange Bowl. They make it to their hotel. Ronnie unloads his suitcase full of condoms and puts on his red mesh jersey crop top and drags Skip out to the bar to pick up some babes. Meanwhile, the townies are fed up with the yearly migration of idiots. Local bartender Gail has to fend off being assaulted by drunks. The Reverend can't convince his daughter to repent from the activities of sinners. Local Sheriff Stryker, played by John Saxon, not only has to deal with spring break shenanigans, but also with the biker gang of demons who are all riled up by the death of their leader Diablo. Not to mention a relentless practical jokester, a frosty-tipped pickpocketer, a very hard-working working girl, and a mysterious biker out for blood with newly upgraded shocks on his motorcycle. I feel like we should get into some spoilers in the movie now.
Yeah, let's spoil stuff now.
All right. So here's the thing. Nightmare Beach is sort of set up as a red herring full whodunit murder mystery.
There's such
maybe
a huge,
revenge.
Yeah, such a huge cast of characters.
Yes, we have the Reverend who is trying desperately to get his daughter to not partake in the spring break sin activities.
There are so many sinful activities. There's hitchhiking, which apparently you can't do because our first person that dies is a poor young hitchhiker. She kind of reminds me of the character Annie in the first Friday the 13th. That's just like young and hitchhiking, and then she's killed immediately.
You also have the wet t-shirt contests.
You have a wet t-shirt contest. You have a baby oil contest.
You have these jocks who their sole mission is to get drunk and get laid. They have their suitcase full of condoms that are just flying around everywhere.
You have opportunists like the pickpocketer who's like hitching rides and stealing wallets.
Or the working lady who is picking up random guys to pay her
way through
fictitious
college
bills.
or pay her way through physical therapy school or pay her way through, I don't know, dental school.
Let's see. We also have the peeping Tom front desk clerk who's got a hole that's like the size of his entire
silver
face,
dollar.
basically.
Yeah.
And he's peeping in on the working girl. We have the biker gang who is pissed, but kind of still doing their own thing.
Yeah, now they're led by Dog, who took over after Diablo was killed.
And Dog has also like gotten with Tina, who
I
was
think it's
Diablo. Trina, who was Diablo's girl.
We have the alcoholic doctor who it's implied that like, if you don't cover up some of these murders, then I'm going to tell everybody about the pills that you give those spring breaker boys.
Yeah.
And at first Tony was like, what is that? Like, what kind of pills are those? Are they like boner pills?
And I was thinking, wait, I don't think they had that around that time. So then I was like, wait, is it steroids? I don't know if that's a pill. And I was like, oh, it's roofies. That's what it is. Yeah.
I mean, in the movie Ticks, it's a pill. Steroids are a pill.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's, I would say it's probably roofies because this guy's like pretty distraught that he's going to lose his licensure.
Yeah.
And at one point actually does stick a gun in his mouth. And
that moment is so dark. He calls the mayor and the sheriff and he's totally drunk. And he's just like, I can't take this anymore. Listen to this.
Yeah.
And he cocks his gun and you just hear a gun go off. And that's all we ever see of the doctor again. Nothing else.
There were some like pretty brutal moments, but I think we should rewind a little bit. So like, all right, we are getting settled into spring break, like after Diablo has been executed. It's sort of like you have the people who are the spring breakers and they're just like hooting and hollering and partying and doing their thing. And then you have the local townies who everyone's got like some sort of problem.
They're all over it too. Like Gail's just like, ugh, when is this over? But also I make good tips right now.
Yeah. And then Diablo's body goes missing. And there is a satanic, there's a pentagram that's scrawled on it.
It's really tiny. It's very tastefully scrawled. It's like in the corner of his tombstone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole time this is going on, and while this is unraveling, we are learning about the dark side of all of these different characters. So like Stryker. Maybe he is a person who assaults.
Yeah,
he's a sexual
the sheriff
predator.
with a dark aura about him. At some point, Gail buddies up with Skip because Skip's buddy Ronnie goes missing. And we know that he doesn't go missing. He is first assaulted by the biker gang, and Trina dumps a whole bottle of rum all over him, and they beat him up. And then our mysterious biker electrocutes him to death. So Ronnie dies. And then poor Skip's like, where's my buddy? I gotta go find him. So he pairs up with Gail, the bartender, and they're searching around town, and they end up going to Stryker, the sheriff's trailer. And she maces the dog in the face, breaks into the trailer, and they find all these whips and chains and some bondage photos or crime scene photos of dead women, including her sister.
Yeah, so you're like, okay, something is definitely wrong with this guy. Every single character has a bit of a dark side to them.
They can all be suspects.
They're all suspects, yes.
And honestly, at this point, I did kind of think that Stryker was the main suspect. Because I was just like, you know what? I kind of feel like he is just rounding up some sinful spring breakers. He and the Reverend are in the same line of thinking. They're over these sinners coming to town, ruining things. And he wants to help clean up the town by murdering sinful people that the Reverend doesn't like, but also pinning it on the biker gang. So I was thinking maybe the Reverend and Stryker were in cahoots.
See, I immediately thought that it was the priest because in that opening scene montage, they clearly focused on this truck that was people who are sort of like speaking out against the debauchery,
sins.
right? It's like
Yeah.
those people who sort of stand outside with a megaphone outside of
Like
horror
New Orleans,
conventions
yeah.
or they're like in spring break areas and they're just saying like, you guys are all sinners, you're going to hell.
Repent.
Repent, all of that sort of stuff. And I was like, huh. And then they had the Reverend and he's just like pleading with his daughter and he's losing his daughter to like the spring break ways.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, this seems like it is going to be him.
I was thinking, no, there's no way it's him. For one, he's too tall. And also I kind of thought he was too old to be doing all this stuff.
He's pretty fit.
I just thought like, okay, he is maybe in cahoots with John Saxon's character. Like maybe all like the townsmen were like, let's get rid of these people. I even thought maybe Gail was in on it because Gail seemed like almost too tough. She's really cool, but I really did think she had something to do with all the murders.
That could have been an interesting twist, and you had me convinced for a little bit because I was just like, wait a second. But the one thing that led me to believe that she couldn't have been the killer is that she was followed by the person in the motorcycle.
And that's why I thought John Saxon was on the motorcycle and he followed her home and they were in on it together. And he had gone to her house to like consult with her. But by this point, she was like, no, we've had a falling out. Like, I want to do this on my own way. So I'm ready to shoot you.
So I've been going out and stealing your bike every single night to go kill and murder and then
So
returning your bike.
Yes. I thought maybe they were like sharing the bike. Yeah. I thought it was a whole like Billy and Stu situation.
I would have been quite impressed if that was the situation where there was a double killer pre-Scream. I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but I feel like it wasn't something that happened all the time.
Yeah, it wasn't as ubiquitous as maybe it is now.
Yeah.
But I really did think that like they were in cahoots and then she was over what he was doing. Like she didn't like that he was pinning everything on the biker gang. So she's trying to go her own way and she's ready to kill him and take over and be like lead killer.
Yeah. That would have been an interesting twist on the movie, but I kind of had a feeling that this movie was going to be a little bit more straightforward.
You got it.
And the main focus of this movie is really the spring break-in.
And this is why I'm terrible at standardized tests because I always think that something's trying to trick me and it usually never is. Anyway.
What did you think of our motorcycle guy, the killer with the red helmet?
Dog? Oh, the actual killer.
Yes. So our main villain.
Should we just say who it is? It is. Okay. And the funny thing is that in our trailer reaction, Tony had all these guesses and I was like, what? So it's just like some angry old guy and we laughed heartily. And then it turns out, yeah, it is some angry old guy.
Yes, it is the Reverend, who is our red helmet wearing motorcyclist who has some sort of electrocution device attached to his bike.
Shocks.
But what I wanted to ask was not about the Reverend. I wanted to ask about the motorcyclist. So before we know it's the Reverend, we have this killer who is in a red motorcycle helmet, and he's cruising through the party town, picking up hitchhikers, going around to different people, shocking them with live wires. So like it's like clearly he's obsessed with like electrocution. But what do you think of this villain just in general as a horror villain?
I mean, I thought it was kind of cool until he took his helmet off. And I was like, And you even said, like, when he took the helmet off, you're like, yeah, it does seem like an older person's motorcycle. And I didn't think that. I felt bad. It
wasn't a cool Harley. It was like one of those like Fat Boys or whatever they call those things.
It seemed like
it's like a three-wheeler.
Like a very sturdy motorcycle that I could drive and pick up some friends on the back.
Yeah, but the outfit was really cool. Even in our trailer review, I was kind of making some comparisons to the Daft Punk robots because he's wearing all black leather, gloves, and this like very strikingly red motorcycle helmet. So I thought like the whole fit and the whole motorcycle getup was pretty awesome.
He looked really cool.
Yeah. The kills, however, like when the people are on the back of his motorcycle and then they just get shocked, I felt like a little underwhelming.
Yeah. And in fact, when we get to our award ceremony, we have an award called Best Intestines, which is like for like the best death. And it was really hard to think of one because when I thought of like all the times that the killer stuck like some wires in some lady's mouth and they just like zapped to death and their face melted, I was like, interesting. So ultimately, I feel like one of the better deaths was when you didn't have electrocution involved.
Yeah, I thought that was like actually pretty easy for me to think of what the best death was, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But what we could say about the kills is that he was consistent. He had wires and he had electrocution, and that was his like main.
Except for when he had fire. And I was like, why did you do this one death with fire? He killed some poor anonymous lady whose name we never get to know. She was just
blonde dancing lady, yeah.
Blonde dancer by a bonfire. She goes back to her trailer at some point to get something, I don't know, a shirt. And then she's kidnapped and taken up to, I don't know, some rafters with a furnace and chained to a pole and melted to death. And I didn't understand why. And I was like, what was her sin? What did she do?
She was dancing.
Just dancing.
Yeah, we're in a total like footloose situation here where the religious morality is wanting to squash any fun.
And see, that's why I thought it was John Saxon's character, because I just thought, you know what? Now he just needs to start killing people and pinning it on the biker gang.
Yeah, see, that would make a lot of sense, but I thought that was too simple. Even though like my prediction for the killer was even more simple.
I just feel like now thinking of everything in retrospect, I'm just like, it really doesn't make sense why the Reverend wanted to kill this poor dancing lady.
I mean, why would they have a Reverend as a character in the movie anyway?
Because he wants to kill people who are sinful.
Yeah, and that seemed like the main theme of the movie, which is sort of like debauchery versus morality.
You know, okay, but all the other kills, like, okay, Trina, the biker gang lady, makes sense. She's part of a biker gang. Ronnie, the philandering condom guy, of course, you know, because he's like a booze hound philanderer drinking from a whole like handle of rum.
He's a man-ho.
He's a man-ho. And so it makes sense that he died.
The working lady is an actual hoe.
The working lady. She's a very hard-working hoe. And of course she dies. The peeping Tom, he dies because he's a peeping Tom. And even the practical jokester, like he's not evil, but he is annoying. So he gets killed. That makes sense. All these kills, I mean, I can even get on board with the hitchhiker because hitchhiking is illegal. Maybe, was it illegal in 1989? Maybe.
Hitchhikers always die.
They always die. Easy pickings.
This is why there is not hitchhiking that happens these days, or at least that I know of.
Yeah.
Because we've seen so many movies where the hitchhiker dies and people have now learned their lesson.
Hitchhikers die. Or hitchhikers kill, like in the movie The Hitchhiker.
The Hitcher.
The Hitcher. Anyway, but the random dancing lady, when she died, I was just kind of like,
She wasn't
No.
nude. She wasn't having sex. She
didn't
wasn't on
do
drugs.
anything
She was
wrong.
just dancing, having a good time.
It just seemed like, when a killer goes overboard and they just start, they start out strong with a good moral code and then they start just killing willy-nilly. And that's why I thought it was John
This
Saxon.
is the John Kramer effect. By Saw 4 or 6 or whatever number
just
that
killing
was,
people
he's
who
just
like to smoke.
killing the janitor who, his vice was smoking.
Yeah, people who have casual vices. And it's, you
You're
lose your
jaywalking
way
and
after a
you are
while.
killed.
If you're a killer with a manifesto, after a while you lose your way. So that's what happened to the Reverend. He lost his way, didn't quite get it, and
He's confused. He's old.
He was hey, his oldness is not an excuse, and he never killed his daughter, and she was kind of the worst one.
She was very petulant.
So petulant and very hoey. Not that I'm saying that's bad. You can do what you want, but according to his standards, she should have been on the chopping block.
He was trying to save her by killing everybody else.
Everybody else. If I kill everyone else, then you'll have to stop.
Yes.
Okay.
And at the same time, having a badass motorcycle.
Yeah. He did get the goodie out of that motorcycle.
But also not one that is like a biker gang motorcycle, right? So it's classy.
like a cruiser.
It's like a classy
cruising
cruiser,
motorcycle.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of that one commercial that where that guy's touring the country and it's like, go on the country, on the mountain, one of those.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I do.
Right?
I don't know the actual song or the words, but I do know that sonorous pitch.
Yep. What did you think of our main protagonist, Skip?
Skip.
He's the football star. He's not really there to party like the others. He kind of got dragged out by his friend Ronnie.
For a little while, I thought maybe he was doing it. I feel
like you're just suspicious of everybody.
I was very suspicious of everyone except for the killer.
Were you suspicious of the kid who's at the pool when
that little girl, the little 5-year-old girl who saw
why is she there
the jokester in the
spring
pool?
break party?
It's like, what is she doing there?
Yeah.
Highly suspicious. No, but Skip, because he was so disapproving of the Reverend's daughter who was hitting on him. He was very disapproving of his friend Ronnie. And he kept making these eyes at Gail, yeah, this guy, roll eyes. And I was like, he's suspicious that he's not having fun at spring break, yet he went.
What did you think about the fact that Gail had this little tiny red scooter that could only go 10 miles an hour? And it was reminiscent of the red motorcycle used by the killer.
I did think, okay, she's a prime suspect because she knows how to ride a scooter. Just got to amp that up to 100. Boom, it's a scary motorcycle. And the Reverend did customize his motorcycle to go 100 miles per hour somehow. Even though it looked like a cruiser, he somehow rigged it to go fast and have shocks, literal shocking wires.
Yeah.
So he's pretty savvy.
This is quite premeditated. He'd probably been working on this motorcycle for years. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a whole plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we think that he is the one who killed what's the main character?
Diablo. Oh,
No.
Gail's sister, Mary.
Yeah, so is he the one who killed Mary? And he didn't really give he did kill Mary, but
Yes.
he didn't really give a good reason for why he killed Mary.
He said, you and your sister hoeing around, taking rides from people. He didn't like that they were accepting rides from boys.
So she was promiscuous, and that was her reason for dying.
Exactly. I think he called her slutty or something.
Yeah, as far as one of the themes of the movie, because it's so over the top, and this is sort of a thing that is always present in Italian cinema, there does seem to be this sort of punishing of people for things that today would be just let people be who they are,
And I'm sure
promiscuity.
I kind of feel
all that
even
sort
at
of
the
stuff.
time, they're saying just let people be. Obviously, the Reverend is not a character of sound mind that we're supposed to be siding with. And so this is another reason why I thought John Saxon was the killer, because Gail had this kind of throwaway line where she's like, oh yeah, the sheriff, he used to offer me and my sister rides home from school. It's kind of weird.
He did seem like he was maybe a bit of a sexual deviant, and also maybe someone who was into torture and assault. So he didn't seem like a good dude.
No. Well, at first, when Skip and Gail first break into his trailer, they found a bunch of whips and chains and I don't know, ball gags. I'm like, that's fine. And even Skip says, well, that doesn't mean he's the killer. So Skip is like, yeah, he has this stuff, which is, maybe peculiar, but doesn't mean that he killed anyone. And then they find the pictures of the dead women tortured.
That really makes it seem like he's the killer.
And Gail's like, what is this? And Skip's like, that doesn't mean he's the killer. So I do like where Skip's head is at, that he is really trying to think without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, I guess he could be thinking that he just stole these crime photo pictures and he's just like a sicko.
Well, also, I think that's what he said. They could just be crime scene photos that he took.
Yeah. So
he's gross.
Gets into his fetish gear and looks at these really disturbing photos, and that's how he gets off.
Yeah.
He did seem like a bad dude, and I don't want to dismiss that, but yes, in this movie world, he was innocent.
Do you think they actually maced that dog?
Why would they mace the dog? That'd be awful.
I do just like how quick thinking Gail was though. When she saw the barking dog coming at her, she immediately grabbed her mace and maced it. Wasn't panicked at all.
Yeah.
Even when she was being chased by the bicyclist, by the killer on the motorcycle, she didn't panic. She was like, I gotta get home fast and get into my house and grab my gun.
She was pretty strong. Yeah, definitely.
She was very strong, but not unflappable. When she was in her house with the gun pointed at the door, she was actually shaking with fear. And then when Skip popped up behind her, she actually let out this shudder of relief that seemed very genuine. So I was very impressed with Sarah Buxton's performance as Gail. She was strong, but not inhuman. Yeah,
definitely. Okay, so lastly, I wanted to ask you, what did you think of the biker gang, the Demons?
The Demons.
Particularly
cool.
Trina and Dog.
Trina was very cool.
Actually, there was that guy with the blonde hair that kind of looked like
wild.
He could have easily been a Cobra Kai dude. He was just had so much adrenaline the whole time.
Yeah, he was very
veiny
amped.
neck and stuff, and yeah.
Yeah, I really like the camaraderie of the gang. They seemed like the most supportive of one another, except for when they all ditched Trina. They're like, let's go break Dog out of prison. They're like, yeah, get him. So they hop on their motorbikes and they saunter off, but they leave Trina at home. So it's just kind of is this one of those things where it's you have camaraderie if you're dudes in the gang, but if you're a lady, then it's whatever.
They did have the other ladies with them though.
Well, they just happened to jump on the back of the bikes. They weren't waiting for them. If they were there, cool, come along. But since Trina didn't hop on a bike right away, they didn't even wait for her.
Messed up.
So I just think that was kind of messed up.
Yeah, and then Trina got her end.
She got her end. I did like Trina though.
Just her look and her vibe. There was something cool about her.
She's very cool.
Right? Very cool. Unfortunate that she met her untimely demise.
She had to.
At the hands of the Reverend. Before we get to our awards, we need to go over our predictions. Back when we watched the trailer, I feel like the trailer gave away a lot, and that's why I think it was easy for me to figure out what was going to happen.
Because we hadn't seen the trailer in 2 years, though, I had forgotten most of what was going to happen. All I could remember from the trailer was wet t-shirt contest, oil contest, and a lot of shocked in the mouth. Women shocked in the mouth.
Yes, they showed probably half of the deaths that happened in the movie.
Yeah.
I think they even showed the killer's death.
We thought that, but then we watched the trailer again. We're like, oh no, they didn't show it. But they definitely did show John Saxon getting shot and then dragged through town by the motorcycle gang.
Yeah, so good thing we didn't watch the trailer right before.
Yeah, because then I definitely would have taken back my prediction that John Saxon was in on it.
Exactly. Aleece, what were some of your best predictions? Did you have any?
That's mean. No. I think, like I said, I jokingly said, oh, it's an angry old guy.
Well, what was your prediction? Actually, can I read your prediction? So you had a bunch of parts of a prediction that all came together in this really sort of grand prediction.
Fashion, yeah.
And I was thinking no, it's not going to be that crazy. It's going to be pretty straightforward. Let me tell you what Aleece's prediction was.
I was going through a phase where I really wanted to guess that everything was happening by ghosts.
Well, okay, that's wishful thinking, and I appreciate that. But this is what Aleece's actual prediction was. Death row inmates Ghost will lead a crew of possessed zombie bikers to take revenge against the rich spring breakers and coppers in this town. Because they're ruining the town.
The rich spring breakers are coming into town, leaving everything a mess and then piecing out. And the cops never defended or had faith in the biker gang. So it's like they have to take care of things on their own. So they're just gonna like get rid of everybody.
Why were they zombies?
Because Diablo was like, I have to give you zombie powers. Possessed zombie powers.
Because you're thinking like
demons.
In the trailer, I think they say something like could it be Diablo? Is it him? He died. Is it him?
Well, in the trailer, it's like, yeah, Diablo gets electrocuted. And then they're like, is it him? And so I was thinking like more in the lines of like the movie Shocker.
Yeah. Or maybe like a Maniac Cop or something like that.
Maniac Cop or Shocker. In the movie, like demons, you know? It's like those demons in the movie Demons, they have like a lot of powers.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So maybe not like totally far-fetched, but you know, I had a feeling that it was going to be something a little more straightforward, and this was my prediction, and I would say that I actually nailed this one.
Kind of did.
So I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back. I said that the movie would focus heavily on partying, and the guy getting the chair was framed, and that the murders were being pinned on the biker gang. The killer would be someone who is tired of all the spring breakers trashing the town.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a bad plot movie, and that's exactly what it is.
It happened halfway through watching the movie. Tony was like, it's the Reverend. It's like, I don't know. He's too tall. But no, it was
I'm going by height and I'm looking at the shoes.
I was going by height and it should not have been the Reverend.
I swear, there was one scene where they showed a close-up of the biker in his helmet.
They showed his eyes.
You could see through the helmet.
It looked like brown eyes.
No, to me, it looked exactly like the Reverend.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it looked like John Saxon.
Even though, like, I was thinking to myself, why would they have the actor who is playing the killer as the actual motorcycle guy?
That's why I thought it was like a brown-eyed John Saxon. Didn't look like a blue-eyed old guy.
Yeah. I was also thinking to myself, like, all right, if people are watching this maybe on like VHS, you can't see all those detail. Like,
but we had Blu-ray.
Yeah, we're watching a restoration of it.
It was restored, so we saw all the details of the priest.
Sometimes it's better to see a lower quality.
We should have
VHS.
seen a lower quality.
Yeah.
I also had a prediction that there would be a band that played an entire song.
Yes, very good. You nailed it.
And the band Zeta, I think, played.
Zeta. Zeta. Why are you giving it a little flair?
Because the word Zeta.
Like Z?
I don't know.
I think that's like Greek for Z, right?
Yeah. Is that not how you pronounce it in Greek?
It's sort of like a frat bro
Zeta.
thing. Zeta, yeah.
Zeta
Phi.
Zeta. Okay,
Whatever.
Fine, whatever. The band Zeta played a whole song. She looks really cool. The main singer, she's wearing like a full body red spandex jumpsuit with like 2 fat belts.
We didn't really mention sort of like that final scene.
What was the final scene?
Gail and Skip, they kind of want to come up with a trap and use Gail as bait.
I love that she's down for being bait.
She's like, yeah, okay, I'm just going to ride my moped around until the killer follows me.
He's like, drive it to your dad's old junkyard. She's like, okay.
Of course, the killer follows her and they end up in a scuffle. And she's like, who are you? Who are you? Why did you do this?
And she does actually manage to rip off his helmet. I'm like, get his helmet. And she does.
And then when it's the reveal of the Reverend, you're just like, I feel kind of bad for you. Like he didn't look powerful. He looked kind of weak.
And then like they jump on their scooters and he jumps on his motorcycle and he's not going fast anymore. And it doesn't seem scary anymore. And he just looks kind of sad.
He hits a big ass tire. Like you could clearly see this tire from a mile away, yet he can't steer around it or slow down. So he hits it, flies off his motorcycle into like some power lines. And of course, the irony that
dies
the
of
shocker gets shocked. Yes.
Yeah, but like that scene of him on his motorcycle as he's trying to
like you felt kind of sad for him.
Gail
right?
and Skip weren't even on a motorcycle. They're running on foot, and he's like going out, and he just like looks so sad. And he's like, "I'm gonna try, but whatever.
I'm just gonna hit this tire.
It's over for me anyway." And he dies.
That part of the movie was kind of but
and at that point, John Saxon had already been shot and dragged through the streets by
and his
biker
fate never
gang.
revealed. We don't know. Did he survive? Did he not?
He died.
I mean, you can assume so, but we don't see
like
him
you
dying.
can't really survive that.
I thought that, okay, there's a scene at the very end of the movie after all the spring breakers had cleared out and there's just like a mess on the beach. And there's this person that is doing the metal detection.
Yeah.
I thought that they were going to find the sheriff. I thought they were going to find Stryker in the sand.
Oh, with like
and
the
I thought that
chains
would have
around
been
his
kind
ankles.
of scary or like a oh shit kind of moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a shallow grave.
But they didn't. Missed the opportunity.
No, spring break ended. People went home.
And that was it. It's just
The
like,
end.
you know, easy come, easy go. I guess that's the moral
and then
of the story.
Gail looks out on the beach and says, I'm ready to leave or something like
I'm
that.
out of here. I'm moving to
I'm
Orlando.
over this place. And she leaves in the car with Skip because she doesn't have any more family. So she might as well.
That was Nightmare Beach. The original US title of this movie was Welcome to Spring Break, which does not sound scary at all.
No, it sounds like a National Lampoon movie.
It does sound like sort of a late night comedy kind of feel to
Yeah.
it, which it did have that feel to it because it did have that sleaziness. Yeah, I was reminded a little bit of like a Hard Bodies kind
I've
of
never
vibe.
actually seen Hard Bodies.
It has a bunch of dudes and their sole purpose is like to try to get laid. Let's see what else. The soundtrack to Nightmare Beach was done by Claudio Simonetti. He's part of the group Goblin. So he has worked with a lot of Italian filmmakers.
Yeah.
And I thought it had a cool sort of like repetitive rock soundtrack.
Yeah, every time you saw the killer, he had a very specific theme song.
It reminded me of Tenebrae, where like every time some action or like someone was going to get killed, the soundtrack would go on.
It kind of reminded me of opera in a way, where it's like they played this like, you know, hard metal soundtrack every time the killer showed
Yeah,
up.
so like every time the killer appeared or something was about to happen, the soundtrack would start or kick in. So
Yeah.
I kind of liked that. And I like that style of Italian movies. I like that they do that. I
Yeah.
think that's one of the things that I like about Italian movies.
Mm-hmm.
Another little tidbit that I read on IMDb is that the Demons biker gang wore the logo from the movie Demons. And I was curious about that because when I was watching, I was like, that looks really familiar. I was like, man, I wonder if that is the like a little nod to Demons.
So my
And sure enough-
prediction that the biker gang turns into zombie-possessed demons was not that bad.
so maybe that's in the sequel.
That should have happened, maybe,
Maybe you can talk about that in your
instead
awards.
of it being the Reverend.
Some of the music featured in this film is also featured in Demons. So is this in the universe of Demons? Like the biker gang in the next movie goes to the movies and now they are zombies.
Now they're all zombies.
We have watched Nightmare Beach and now let's give it some awards.
That was weird.
I had a brain melt. All
Time
right.
for our awards. I'm going to have you do this first one because I didn't write one down.
For the axe,
Yeah, Tony.
that is one of our coveted awards. Okay.
The coveted axe goes to one thing that you would get rid of from Nightmare Beach.
My axe award goes to Trina's death. She fights the motorcyclist and then she ends up on the couch. And I swear there's like a good solid 30 seconds where she's just like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. And it's one of those sort of like, come on, just like you're not hurt or anything. All you have to do is like roll off the couch and run away or try to fight or something.
Yeah, she's a
And he's
badass lady.
coming at her slowly with his live wires. And yeah, exactly. She's a badass biker chick.
Yeah.
She wields knives. She has like weapons hidden all around her. Yet in this
Yeah.
moment, she does nothing. So she's just like deer in the headlights.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving my axe award to that because I felt like it didn't match the character.
didn't.
Also, the effect, like as she was getting shocked, there's some frames of like a really bad dummy head, which made me laugh, and I kind of appreciate that. But also, like it was
was
kind of
funny.
bad. So
Was kind
that's my axe award. What are
Yeah.
you giving the axe award to?
Maybe there was a scene where the working woman, the call girl, when she's in her room and she hears a sound and it's obviously coming from one door and then she goes into the other door and nothing's there. And I'm just kind of like, if it wasn't ghosts, then what was making all that noise?
So you still think
Honestly,
it's ghosts?
I didn't really think out an axe that well. Maybe I just don't want it to be the Reverend. Maybe I would axe the Reverend as the killer.
So you want to give it back to Stryker as the
I
killer.
want Stryker to be the killer.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really believe, like, once they took the helmet off, I was like, no, it's not him. It's not this feeble old priest. Not that older people can't be killers. I do like that, like, yes, an older person can be a killer, but I didn't buy it. It just seemed like the whole movie was going so well until that reveal. That's my axe.
All right.
And not just because I was way wrong.
Well, That is reasonable for all of your reasonings of
Thank you.
why Stryker should have been the killer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay.
He seemed way more evil.
Who got your first aid kit award?
I initially had one person and then I scratched it out and put somebody else. So I'm giving my first aid kit to the working woman because
Oh.
she was such a hard worker the whole time. Like she was not there to play games or get drunk or be debaucherous. She had a mission and she was making money. And her clients weren't being hoodwinked. It wasn't like the pickpocketer who's like taking their money. She was like exchanging some services and receiving a present afterward. So I feel like and I listened to Look Good for the Boys episode on this now, and I think they would agree with me because she was really like, it was a very like symbiotic relationship, her and her clients. Like they obviously weren't tricked into giving her money. They wanted these services. They want to fool themselves into thinking that, oh yeah, I'm helping pay her way through doctor school to help all those poor people.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm getting something out of it, but I'm doing a good deed. So I liked this relationship that she had with her quote unquote Johns. So I don't think she deserved to die.
I don't think she deserved to die either.
Yeah, bring her back.
Bring her back. All right. So my first aid kit goes to the blonde dancing lady because I didn't think that she deserved to die. And she died in the most
Awful.
horrific way.
She was actually who I initially put.
She's blasted with a furnace
Blasted with
flame to
a
the point where her
furnace.
entire flesh is just burned off and
She
she's like a melted skeleton.
Melts. Yeah, not even shocked to death, just like melted away.
Yeah.
Rude.
Like why? What's the purpose of
I
that?
have no idea. I feel like he just really had like a brain blip and was like, I don't know. I think I need to kill somebody right now.
It's been a while since I've killed
It's
someone.
kill
so,
o'clock, and
yeah.
that lady's right there.
Exactly.
She left her trailer unlocked.
So, I'm going to bring her back because she did not deserve
She
it.
initially was my bringer back, but I had to erase her for the working girl.
Yeah, that's a good one as well. I like
Yeah.
that one. Okay, next up we have our second kidney award. This is for a character living or dead that deserves a prequel, sequel, or a spin-off.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I gave my second kidney award to our Mr. Prankster.
Interesting.
Yeah, my spin-off of the movie, it's like the hijinks of the prankster, and this is more of like a late night comedy movie, and he's just going around to different spring breaks and hoodwinking people, and that's it. It's just his antics.
That's interesting. I kind of found that character annoying because I'm just like,
He was.
who are you doing this for? You have no friends, obviously. Like, you're not like laughing it up with people afterward or high-fiving your buddies. Like, why are you doing this? I kind of felt bad for him.
That's the thing. It's like, what's his story? Why does he have this compulsion to prank people?
He's one of
He
those.
knows no one there.
He knows nobody there. He's one of those people that like wants to make people laugh, but they're really just mad at him. So I kind of felt bad. Anyway, I don't want to bring him back or have him have a spin-off. I kind of want him to be done. So
I'm going to watch an entire movie of this guy's pranks.
you can watch that on your own at like 2 a.m. I'll be in bed. But in the same vein, I had a tie between Gail and the pickpocketer.
Oh, okay.
I like that. Okay, the pickpocketer for some reason doesn't die, even though he's obviously sinning. And I kind of felt like that's the reason why the Reverend ended up killing that poor dancing lady. I think
She was going for the pickpocket.
he was looking for the pickpocketer and couldn't find him. Like there's that scene where they're like laughing at the beach and the pickpocketer's like, oh yeah, ha ha, I went to the school of hard knocks. He takes that lady's wallet and then the dancing lady goes off to her trailer. I think that happens in the same scene.
I think those are two different scenes, but
Whatever.
that's okay. It doesn't matter.
I still feel like he intended to kill the pickpocketer but couldn't find him because he's too slippery.
Yeah.
And then went for the dancing lady. But I do feel like it'd be interesting to have a spin-off with that pickpocketer.
And is it a comedy? Is it a horror movie? What is this?
It's just like an interesting like heist movie.
It's like Ocean's 11.
I mentioned this before, but it's like that character from Army of the Dead that dies in Army of the Dead. He plays the safe cracker, the safe opener. And then they made a prequel of that movie of just that character. And it's not a zombie movie or a horror movie. It's like a heist movie.
Okay. So this is going to be a movie in the vein of like Monkey Trouble, something like that.
No, it's what I just said. It's in the vein of that weird prequel of Army of the Dead.
I was just hoping that it would be in the vein of Monkey Trouble.
No, I don't think I want to see Monkey Trouble.
I love that movie.
I saw a trailer when I was a kid.
Very good second kidney spinoff.
Thank you.
Will watch movies of the prankster and the klepto.
Yeah, I'll watch.
Maybe it'll be a buddy comedy.
A buddy comedy of the. You know what? I feel like they would be good friends.
It's going to be like a rat race style movie.
And maybe that would be like a nice coming of age in your 30s drama because this jokester obviously never grew up.
It's just one of those movies where it's like, hey man, that's not funny.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit, it's not funny.
The klepto's like,
a really
you
serious
need
drama.
to figure out your life, man. Like, this isn't funny. You don't have a job. And the klepto
Sounds like a depressing movie. All right. Hopefully coming to theater soon. Someone write it.
depressing comedy. Moving on to our best intestines.
For me, this one was really super easy. As soon as I saw it, I knew it was the best intestine.
I think so,
And I think
too.
we have the same one.
I think we do. So, Tony, what gets your award for the best or saddest death?
The best or saddest death. It is the best practically, and it is the saddest. And it is also the blonde lady who gets torched by the furnace.
Unfair.
Very unfair.
All she did was leave her trailer unlocked and go back to her trailer to get a shirt or a cover up for the evening. And she gets not shocked, but flamed to death and
Blasted.
melted. Blasted and melted. And her body is thrown in front of City Hall. Like, why?
It's so messed up.
On public display.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
That's why I really thought it was John Saxon, because I thought like he wanted to like have this thing in plain view and like blame the rest of the biker gang to get
Yeah.
them all arrested.
Okay, if someone were to come back as a zombie, she could be the one that comes back as a zombie and gets her revenge.
Yeah, she's going to demon all of them. I would love that.
Next up, we have our Silver Spleen Award. That award goes for the second best element, character, or whatever.
My silver spleen goes to the whole opening scene. I just love the way the movie opened, and it really set the tone to be more than just a schlocky, stupid beach horror movie. Like that opening shot of the biker gang looking so morose on the hill as it's like sunsetting, and then this scene where all the witnesses are watching Diablo get electrocuted, and even Diablo's electrocution itself was so subdued and just kind of like calm and morose and eerie.
It was a heavy scene. For sure.
I was impressed.
Yeah.
So it goes to that.
Ooh, okay.
What's yours?
I like that a lot. I'm giving my Silver Spleen.
Dancing Blonde Lady.
No, I'm giving it to Claudio Simonetti's soundtrack.
yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I thought that the soundtrack really drove the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And every time that I heard the sort of like rock soundtrack of The Killer, I was excited. So
Yeah, you're almost like on the team of The Killer. Your team Reverend. Clean up that beach.
So yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah. We have
All
one
right,
more award.
moving along to our our coveted Golden Gut Award. Aleece, what in Nightmare Beach got your Golden Gut Award? That is the best element, character, or thing about this movie.
My Golden Gut goes to Gail.
To Gail, wow.
Played by
okay.
Sarah Buxton. I loved her performance as Gail so much. She seemed very nuanced, and I felt like she could be the killer or she could just be a badass lady with some past.
And she had some great outfits, too.
She had great outfits. Her dumpy sweater at the end with those jeans, like, that's cute. I'll wear that.
She was dressed to impress.
Dressed to impress. She drove a cute little moped to work, surviving on her own without her parents or her sister. She was over all the spring breakers, but still very responsible. Wasn't driven to murder somehow, but still carries mace with her and has a gun.
Yes.
Love her.
I agree with that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that is an excellent Golden Gut.
Thank you.
However, that is not my Golden Gut. I gave my coveted Golden Gut Award to the overall 80s spring break vibe. So in a way, like that's sort of what you gave your silver. I gave it my gold because this movie really, for me,
No,
it's,
I gave my silver to the opening subdued
Oh,
scene.
shoot. Okay, never mind. Scratch that. So I gave my gold to the overall 80s spring break vibe. Really, to me, this movie, like I said before, seemed like they actually went to spring break and filmed the movie during spring break.
It did seem like they were shooting an actual wet t-shirt contest.
I think they were.
I think they
But everything about that vibe is just like kind of a snippet into the past
Yeah.
of what that sort of scene might be. And I imagine that if you were to go to a spring break in 2025, it would look a lot different. So it was sort of like a time capsule for me. And I really enjoyed the hairstyles, the sort of like doofy drunk dudes, and the like ladies in their bikinis they had like really smooth
The
butts and stuff.
high-waisted bikinis. Yeah. Mhm.
That is exactly what I was expecting from Nightmare Beach. And
I liked
think
the
it
drama
delivered.
of Nightmare Beach, the serious tones.
I like the reveal of the Reverend. All right, that was our awards for Nightmare Beach.
Would you give Nightmare Beach your staff pick, the main shelf, a $1 rental, a bargain bin buy and keep, like take it off my hands, or back alley dumpster?
I'm going to give Nightmare Beach a main shelf. It's going to be displayed prominently in the spring break horror section.
Yeah.
And if I were to then narrow that down and do like a highlight on unseen or under the radar Italian cinema, I might put it on the staff pick for a couple of days.
You know what? Okay, because I don't like that many Italian cinema movies, but I did really enjoy Nightmare Beach. So I am glad that Look Good for the Boys suggested this to us and that 2 years later we finally watched it. So I agree. It is going on my main shelf predominantly. And then occasionally it might sneak up to a staff pick for under the radar Italian films.
All right.
Or Italian filmmaker horror film.
Yes.
Yes.
What would you give this on Letterboxd?
You know, I was pleasantly surprised. I will give it a 4.
Wow. Okay. I
4 out of
was
5.
going to say 3.5, but if you're going 4, I'm going to go 4.
I'm giving it a 4 because compared to all the other horror spring break movies or Italian-made horror movies in the vein of giallo or whatever, it's obviously not my subgenre. It would float to the top of that subgenre for me.
All right. I love that. All right. Perfect. Aleece, finally, did you learn anything from Nightmare Beach? What did you learn about sex and debauchery?
Be Gale.
Be Gale.
Yeah, put a whole aerosol can of mace in your purse, hide a gun behind your cereal box, be ready. You can still be human and be scared, but just be ready. Like Gale. What's your lesson?
My lesson learned is that, hey, if you can't see the big ass tire in front of you when you're going 10 miles an hour on your motorcycle, maybe you shouldn't have spent all that money on this really nice, souped up motorcycle. You know, spend your retirement money on something else.
Not to negate your lesson learned, but if you really look at the Reverend's face in that moment, he was aiming for that tire.
He's like, damn it, I'm done.
He looked so sad. Like he was ready to be done. He was like, I'm just going to hit this tire and fling my body into those power lines and die because I'm done.
Well, if you look at that, it's actually more of a dark ending.
It's very tragic.
So yeah, very sad. Well, you know, Nightmare Beach, it is free on YouTube.
Oh, is it?
It is free on YouTube because I don't think it's on any other streaming sites that I looked up.
You could buy the Blu-ray.
You could buy the Blu-ray. I don't know. I do know that this is free on YouTube. You can find it, and it's actually like a 4K restoration of it. So they have a really good copy on YouTube.
So
go and check it out.
be able to see the Reverend's eyes. Thank you again to Look Good for the Boys for suggesting that 2 years ago. Check out their episode. It came out in July of 2021, so you can find them on Spotify and listen to it there. Yeah.
If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching and or listening. Go ahead and leave us a comment, like, subscribe, give us a rating. Have you seen Nightmare Beach?
What do you think? Do you like having spring break in October? Do you like my spring break October beads that I wore and might have jingled throughout the episode?
Have you been to Daytona Beach? Do they park their cars right on the sand?
Is that very realistic?
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Thank you so much for watching and or listening.
This has been another episode of
Got it.